Hi, everybody. Miss G here. I am going to be talking to you about a really super important topic when you are online learning. It is about communication. And when you're online learning, it's your workplace. It's just like any other workplace if you're on the job. Communication is what's going to make or break the whole team experience between you and your teacher, you and your learning coach and your teacher. Communication is so important, and especially if you are at distance learning, which is what you are doing online. So there's so many things that if we don't communicate right and really let each other know what's going on, then we could create so many false assumptions, and we're not going to know when you're doing whatever you're doing. So super important. I like to think of us as working as a team, and each of us has a certain piece of the puzzle. And each of us have to put that piece of the puzzle together in order to create this one big goal, this picture, which is your success as a student. So I have a little bit of information, you have a little bit, your learning coach has a little bit, and so sometimes it's easy to assume the other person knows what's going on. So we rely heavily on emails, phone calls, meeting in class connects. Those are so important. So like this is kind of a given, but I do know have a lot of students who, when they're sick, they don't communicate and say, hey, I can't go to Class Connect. And just a simple email would be sent, but on online school, we do have an absentee form that you need to fill out. So if you need, you can always request for it if you don't know where to find it. But, or if you, even if you're not sick, you have to go away, or, I know families plan trips or whatever else. But if you cannot attend Class Connect, or you cannot complete your assignment on that day, because you need to be completing your assignments every day. And maybe it's a situation to where you took longer on this one other assignment and you just couldn't get to all of them. Just let your teacher know, hey, I'm behind, but I plan on getting caught up. Send them a quick email. It makes all the difference in the world. We know you're engaged. We can see you working on this end. We can see you logging in. But the specifics, like I said, there's so many more things that we may not know, and it helps put the pieces together and fill in the blanks. Tech issues is another one of them, to where, I really appreciate when people contact me and somehow they find a way to email. Obviously, when you've got tech issues, you may not be able to email, but a lot of people get on their phones now and they are able to send an email through that way. I'm having tech issues, and let us know what you're doing. Like, you've contacted tech support, or maybe you had to, you contact your advisor and had to order a new computer, all of those kind of things. But if you have tech issues, you still need to find a way to get to a computer. Libraries are a great way. You don't want to let yourself get behind that. It's just a snowball going downhill, and it's missing one day can just be too much, and you can't learn if you're scrambling and rushing to get caught up. That's just not the way the learning process is supposed to work. And so struggles is another one. I see students, they start to avoid the work and they have problems. And instead of contacting the teacher, sending the teacher a screenshot, a snip, I just made a recording on how to use a snipping tool. Very valuable. Take a snip of it. And if you haven't seen that, go back and watch that. Very important and very short and sweet. Uh, and show your teacher, tell them what you know, what you don't know. Again, that's communication. Don't assume we can read your mind. We don't know what you know. We don't know what you don't know. So it's all that problem identification, defining the problem. Let us know, what have you tried? those things. And then, there's sometimes you can look back and see some of your notes and whatnot. But if you're lost and confused, holler at us. That's what we're there for. We're there waiting for you. I mean, we're not doing nothing. Obviously, there's a lot to get done. But we're here for you. You're number one. You're at the top of the list. There's nothing more important than you and your success for us as teachers. But we won't know you're struggling unless you let us know. And there's no shame in struggling. Everybody struggles. I promise you, everybody struggles. Okay. And so here we are as a teacher sitting over here, we're working and thinking everything's going good. There's no way we are able to know everything that's going on. And so we can make assumptions, this, and that goes the same for us as teachers. I think sometimes we get into this habit of thinking, hey, they know this. We've sent all these emails thinking you know it. And somehow the communication breaks down. So it's all the better to over ask, over clarify. I think I do that a lot. Students may get really bothered by me, but I would rather do that than have students tell me they did not know it. And that's happened. And I'm like, oh man, what can I do to improve my communication? I think it's an ongoing, constant reviewing what have I done, what can I do better, and for on both our sides, you guys, us as teachers, the whole 9 yards. But be aware that we can't literally see every single moment. We can't read your mind, and so you got to be able to help find that connection, and so that a way we can really have a communication. Now, in Class Connect, one of the main things that teachers do when they, when like in a brick and mortar, teachers can read faces of students, and we know when you're confused or not. But on a Class Connect, online, we can't see your faces. So it's all the more important to let us know. If you're sitting there doing nothing, listening to the teacher, taking notes, you're doing something, but we can't see that, remember. So it really super important, that you let us know if your computer's lagging. Sometimes you're not aware of it yourself. So if your computer's froze, I see that a lot with students. And the only way we can help students if they're not responding is to remove them from the class, because they may not know that they are frozen, that nothing's happening. So they could hear us and they may be taking notes. So a great way of doing it is to ask questions, just make sure, ask those clarifying questions. That's one of the best way of listening. And then also maybe even let this teacher know you understand. One of my favorite, a student who responds like almost like every couple minutes, he'll put just the letter K in there and tells me he's listening. And it really makes a big difference, helps me to know and to understand. I have another class. We like to use facial expressions. What are you thinking? What are you, how's it coming through? And that helps me to see you're not lagging, you're not frozen. And it helps me to see where you at as far as knowing and understanding. And another way is to let the teacher know if you don't understand. And you can just put in there, I don't understand, put a question mark, but also answer those questions. Answer the teacher's questions at a good amount of, on time. Okay. So if your computer's not lagging and your teacher asks a question, you need to respond in enough time, because they're waiting for you and they've got other things to cover. If they're waiting for you, it can really interfere with the time. So that's I'm sure there's more on communication, but that's a good start. And when each of us put together our piece, hopefully you are able to see your piece of the puzzle. We as teachers are always trying to find our piece. And when we put our pieces of the puzzle together, we create this picture, we create this teamwork. So hopefully this was very helpful for you guys, and I look forward to seeing you in class. Bye-bye.